Are you a first-time mom in the midst of your first trimester? Does the thought of food just make you want to gag? Well, you're in good company. Today's question comes from a first-time mom, and she writes, I'm a first-time mom officially in the trenches of the first trimester. Morning sickness is no joke. The nausea is relentless. I remember being in that exact same situation. It feels like I'm living off of bland crackers and ginger ale, praying it stays down. Do any seasoned moms out there have any words of wisdom for surviving this first trimester torture? Do you have any pregnancy snacks that taste good, natural remedies that work, or maybe just send some virtual hugs and words of encouragement? Seriously, any advice would be a lifesaver. Sending major props to all the moms who've braved this before and do it more than once. You're all rock stars. Please share your morning sickness stories. I'm miserable and I'd like some company. Before we answer today's question, if this is the first time we're hanging out, welcome to the podcast. My name is Brianna, fellow mom and money coach. Here we talk about real money and real life. With that, let's dive into the conversation. We heard from another mom, Sarah. She happens to be a mom of 3. She ended up sending in these tips. Here are some things that helped me survive the first few rough months. Mini meals and snacks were my saving grace: crackers, dry cereal, and toast. Actually, this is a really good point that she makes because I never thought about doing dry cereal before. When I was in my first trimesters, I was definitely on the cracker route. Like, I had crackers next to my bed, and sometimes I would eat them before my feet touched the floor. Like, it was just like, I need something in my stomach right now. But the dry cereal, that's a great tip too. I mean, anything super bland, would be super helpful, because with crackers, you can also sometimes get a lot of salt. I actually preferred the salt. It was kind of something that I craved. But if that's something that you're trying to be conscious of, or being mindful of your salt intake while you're pregnant, then cereal might be a really great alternative option. She also said ginger is a lifesaver. Definitely second that. If you like the taste, ginger ale, ginger candy. I even sometimes added a sprinkle of ground ginger to my food. I've never actually thought of doing that. I wonder if it may have been helpful, but I have heard of the ginger candies. Some people actually use lemon heads as an alternative option. Really, anything that has a citrus kind of base or flavoring, you may find helpful, but of course it's going to be dependent on your specific tastes and flavor profiles. I would definitely more gravitate towards the lemon heads over ginger flavoring candy, but whatever works for you. Sometimes you just don't know it until you try it and kind of see what your stomach is going to tolerate with growing baby in there. She also says, I made sure to stay hydrated. I sipped on really cold water or ice chips throughout the day. Oh, that's a great thought too. I was definitely into cold water, but ice chips is a great alternative. Some swear by acupressure wristbands for nausea relief. When you're feeling so bad for such a long time, anything is worth a try. This is actually a really good suggestion. I have heard that acupuncture can be really helpful for some people. I've never actually tried it for myself. It wasn't something that I kind of thought of or was just aware of during the course of my pregnancy, but I have heard that some people find that really helpful. And of course, talk with your doctor or your medical provider about all of this, because we are not doctors, we are just moms here. The next mom that we're going to hear from is Maya. She is a mom to twins, and she recommended avoiding foods that make your stomach upset. For me, it was anything remotely greasy. Even just thinking back to the time of when I was in the throes of morning sickness, and just remembering how I felt, just thinking about something greasy actually kind of makes my stomach turn just thinking about it. So yes, there are some foods that I thought for sure I was going to crave and I just loved. And as soon as morning sickness came along, I was just like, nope, not interested, like keep that away from me. Even just trying to take one bite of it would just sometimes give you a gag reflex, and it's just like, okay, I'm done. Not interested in that. She also says she basically lived on popsicles during her first trimester, which kind of goes back to the tip that we got from Sarah about using ice chips. I definitely think that if you're not eating quite as much, like because your appetite is just suppressed, if you're having a really challenging time keeping things down, at least with the popsicles, you will get a little bit of flavoring, and you'll also get a little bit of sugar to kind of keep your blood sugar levels up. But of course, like if that's something that you're having a really challenging time getting enough things in your stomach to at least give you some energy, if that's the only thing you're eating, if that's the only thing you can keep down, then you'll probably want to at least have that discussion with your doctor to make sure that you and your baby are staying safe. She says, don't feel guilty about taking naps. Fatigue can worsen nausea, so listen to your body and take a nap when you need to. Yes, I mean, in addition to the nausea, like it's like you're never quite as tired in your life up to that point, especially if this is your first child, as during your first trimester. Now, you are definitely going to be tired way more after that, after baby comes along, but man, it just felt like in your first trimester, you cannot get enough sleep. Even when I'm no longer pregnant, there are times that if I'm super tired, I just automatically feel nauseous. So if that is possibly a factor playing into your own circumstance, maybe see if there's a possibility you can like work in a few extra naps depending on what your actual routine or your outside obligations call for. Taking advantage of those weekend mornings to sleep in, or grab a Sunday afternoon nap can really, give you what your body needs in this time frame. She also said vitamin B6 and Unisom, this combo was a lifesaver for her. They both do different things, but together they can combat nausea, I believe. Again, I'm not a medical provider. This is not medical advice, but if you're finding that some of these home remedy type solutions are not helping you, then that will give you at least something to talk to your medical provider about whether or not it may be a good fit for you specifically. Now, there are a couple of things that neither of these moms mentioned that I actually found to be really helpful, and that was don't eat or drink anything out of habit if it's not something that your body is craving or if you have an aversion to. So for me, for example, during my second pregnancy, I was already in the habit just from my normal day-to-day life of drinking coffee in the morning. And I look forward to that cup every day. Like, it's like the best thing about the morning is my cup of coffee. But when I was pregnant, and of course switching over to decaf, I did all of those steps and those actions. So don't call me out in the comments, okay? Like, I wasn't drinking caffeine coffee. But even drinking decaf during my second pregnancy, which did not happen in my first, it was just like my body was so averse to it. And I wanted to drink it out of habit. Like, I wanted to experience, my morning coffee. It was part of my routine, thinking, if I do this, then I'll kind of feel better. And it would actually make me feel worse. So if that's something that you are noticing, just kind of be mindful that you might need to change your habits for, this season, this period of time, even if it is something that you normally love and totally enjoy. It might be something that you might need to kind of put a pause and put a little break on until you're starting to feel much better. The other thing that really helped me was smoothies. And this, of course, is going to be dependent on your unique flavors and tastes and what actually sounds and tastes good to you in the moment. But mixing yogurt and frozen berries was kind of my smoothie of choice that really I found super helpful. I would usually get sick from as soon as I woke up and felt like just nauseous until around 2 p.m. And depending on when you're feeling your morning sickness, some women experience it all throughout their entire day. Some women experience it in the evening and it doesn't correlate to the morning at all for them, it's going to be very unique to you. And you might need to, of course, obviously adjust what you're eating and when you're eating based off of when you're actually feeling okay. Another thing that really helped me, in addition to, the lemon heads or lemon drops, was to actually chew mint gum. So mint can be like a natural nausea remedy. Now, there have been some considerations that peppermint or peppermint spearmint essential oils and or possibly tea might lead to miscarriage. So definitely talk to your doctor about whether or not it's safe for you in your specific situation. But for me, I felt safe chewing mint gum, and that was something that actually really helped me. And just having the fact that chewing gum over actually having a mint or peppermint candy, I knew that it was going to last a little bit longer and the flavor was just more intense for me when I was feeling nauseous. Having that burst of peppermint or spearmint or whatever your mint preference is really, I found to be very helpful. One thing that I didn't really realize was making it a lot worse is I was starting to take my prenatal vitamin in the morning on a completely empty stomach. And if you have never done that before, that's probably not a great idea. I can take a prenatal vitamin on an empty stomach, not being pregnant at all, and instantly feel nauseous within 20 minutes. So if you're also doing this and you're taking your prenatal vitamin on an empty stomach, make sure there's something in your stomach before you actually take it, because that might be what is triggering or at least kind of kickstarting that nausea for you in the morning or whenever you're taking your vitamin, if you're noticing that occurring. Definitely don't skip out on taking them, because we know at this point it is so important to make sure your body's getting all those nutrients that it really needs. Another thing that can really help with nausea that I found so helpful during both of my pregnancies was scents. When I started implementing them, I started thinking back to like reading these really, old romantic novels and like the woman fainting and she's laying on the ground and they bring over these smelling salts to her. Well, it kind of works very similarly in the same manner. So again, peppermint and a lot of citrus scents are going to be most typically the things that you might find to soothe nausea. If you don't have a diffuser, I'm going to link the one that I've used for several years below. I absolutely love it. And I love having it because not only did it help me during my pregnancy, but I was also able to use it again after baby came along and have it available for their room and diffusing different scents. I really like this specific essential oil variety pack because it gives you enough options between like the peppermint option or the citrus options, which both tend to be what most moms gravitate towards to really help with their morning sickness. The scent that I actually prefer if I'm not going to be using the peppermint for the purposes or concerns already previously mentioned is I actually really appreciated the grapefruit option, which I used all of the time. And if you're not a big fan of grapefruit, you can also look into tangerine. Having that, very citrus clean type scent really helped me not feel quite so nauseous, especially when I would just feel like the sudden overwhelm of them. And if you don't have a diffuser, you can actually put a small drop of essential oils on a cotton ball, or you can just like have some in your purse, because if you're traveling and experiencing nausea, it's still there for you. It would be amazing when I would feel that sudden urge of nauseousness and then like have a nice scent of grapefruit and immediately felt so much better. I don't know what it is about it, but it's almost magical in how it works. When it comes to the money aspect of morning sickness, I mean, this would not be a, episode without at least a little bit of money sprinkled in here. So most morning sickness remedies are going to be things that you probably already have in your home. Most people spend under $50 because it's like things like candy or tea. So if you are likely to spend more than that amount, it could be due to prescription medications that you're taking, or if you're going to be purchasing, specific things like acupuncture wristbands or other things that you might not necessarily have available in your home. If you have to go out and buy something else, and you may end up spending a little bit more, obviously, to purchase new things that help you in this really nauseous time. Morning sickness can be brutal, but thankfully for most moms, it is just temporary. And if you have anything that you have found in your experience that's been really helpful for you, I want to just invite you and encourage you to drop it below, so that way that information can help any other mom that's looking for a remedy to her morning sickness. As you progress through your pregnancy, your body's going to change and you're going to need more room for baby, which is why you might be looking for some frugal ways to save on maternity clothes. So if that's you, then I think you'll enjoy this video next. So hopefully I'll hang out with you more over there. Until we see each other again, take what's helpful, leave the rest, or modify it to help you best and create your own heart home.